The birth of that family happened after the French Revolution, the birth of the basic contours of the family that we've known as the traditional family, which in Marxian terms is the feudal family. In that traditional family, the wife had the position of a feudal serf. She lived in a domicile, some kind of rental or home that was in the husband's name, and she got a share of what she produced, the food, the resources of childcare, the cleaning, the cooking, the taking care of her husband. She got a share of what she produced, really in exchange, like a feudal serf, for working on property owned by her husband. This was put into motion after the French Revolution, because after the French Revolution, things were very chaotic in France. What happened was that the old order broke down. That was the order of serfs and lords, the feudal order, which was blessed by the Catholic Church all around Europe. And there, the father of the family was the oldest living male who gave birth to children, and his first lieutenant was his firstborn son, and they decided the futures of everyone else in the family. When feudalism broke down, that family form broke down because the serfs left for towns that were starting. They had to get off of the land because the feudal lords wanted to use huge tracts of land for raising livestock and sheep. And therefore, they didn't need all these little family farms and these little family feudal serfs offering up a share of their produce to the lord in exchange for working the lord's land. So they were thrown out, and the whole feudal order broke down. People went to little towns where some of them had jobs. Children were born outside of any kind of wedding or any kind of way of supporting them, because there was no structure in place. And so after the French Revolution, those who still had the means saw an emergency. They were what was left of the French nobility that hadn't been killed, what was left of the Catholic clergy who owned vast tracts of land, and some of the newly rich people from the towns realized they had to do something. The reason they realized is one of the big demands of the French Revolution was state support for children. And the rich realized, if there's state support, who's going to be able to pay for it? There'll be taxes on us. That can't happen. And so they came up with the nuclear family idea, that the man would be the feudal lord of his own little household. The wife would be there because she would have protection through pregnancy, and in exchange she would work full-time on the care of the home, on production in the home, of the foodstuffs they ate, of cleanliness and childcare. Now, that was documented in an incredible book by Jacques Donzelot called The Policing of the Family. It's not good reading. It's written in the turgid, difficult prose, but he documents very carefully and historically what these meetings were and the agreements that were drawn up. And the way they enforced that kind of family is that no one was given a job unless he had that kind of family, a dependent wife and children. And people were desperate for work because the society had broken down and there was nothing available. And in that way, they enforced the new family form